fucking hell! Damon! No! How could we let this happen? God damn it! If we can't protect him, what the fuck is the point of us? Damon was good. He was kind to me. He deserved better than this. He better be peaceful as all hell right now. If good people have to die, there better be something really fucking lovely on the other end. A girl can dream, right? What's on your mind? Nice little nap. Ah, that put the wind back in my sails.
Open up.
A long way to go still.
All's well that ends. Not as bad as it could have. How much further can I go? What's in here?
I think when they put up a struggle. In vain.
Snow trap.
What's that? What's inside?
Playtime's over, pet. Ah, I love this time of year. The dickheads start popping up wherever you look.
What do you want, Mizora?
Drop the attitude and perk up your ears. You've got a new mission. Absolute's cult has gone and grabbed one of Zariel's assets. A devil. And a powerful one at that. They're locked up in the cult's fortress, Moonrise Towers. And you're getting him out. Well, your playmate's wasting precious time. Let's see about getting her priorities fixed. Clause Z, Section 13. Should promised soul refuse obeyance or neglect duty, the pact holder shall cast the promised into Avernus as a lemure. I'll make it simple. Will fails or refuses, and he turns to a thick blob of stink flesh and sinks to Avernus. Now, be a good boy and play fetch, pup, or you'll spend an eternity sizzling in the hells.
Mizora's words may be flippant, but they are tinged with desperation. She cannot afford for Will to fail this mission. This may be your best chance to negotiate Will out of his pact.
And what condition is that?
Your mind links with Will's, drawn in by his increasing panic.
What are you doing?
A doubtful Will catches his breath, but says nothing, and your connection fades.
Interesting. Now, why should I go letting my favorite pet off his leash? I've never seen such a fearless display of sheer idiocy. Bravo! Fine, I'll play your game. But I amend the pact once the mission's done, not before. Clause F, Section 9. Soulbinder shall bestow reward or favor only upon soul bearer's fulfillment of related obligation. Now, to Moonrise, pet. And do mind the shadows. They've been especially hungry.
Always at your side.
I've been thinking about the runes Cazador carved into my back. There's something not right about all this. There's more to that poem than everyday sadism. Maybe something worse than everyday sadism. I saw runes like that on the creatures we fought in the Hells. The message must be infernal. I'm afraid that through those ruins, somehow, Cazador might still be able to dominate me. Unless you've suddenly become an expert in mysterious runes, I don't think that will achieve much. No. We need someone with a little more expertise. And I think I know who to ask. Our devilish friend, Raphael. If anyone has the resources to find out what it says, surely he will. Well, we won't know until we ask now, will we? Unfortunately, he comes and goes in his own schedule, so we'll just have to look out for any sulphurous odors or the sound of questionable poetry. Meanwhile, I think I'll spend some time studying the art of infernal negotiations.
It's been a day, Scratch. Come here, boy.
The more bullshit she pours, the more of it I'm forced to swallow. Mazora set me on fiends inside and outside the Hells. She's never ordered a rescue. Gods. She makes a mockery of everything the Blade stands for. Such an asshole. Not a one. All that matters is that we free it. Fail, and I'm made a mindless blob clawing at demons on the front lines of the Blood War. And it means everything to me. I always knew what my future held, and I know I chose right. Thank you for sticking your neck out for me. I mean it. But I'm not going to celebrate till I'm actually free. I can feel Mazora scheming, plotting. She won't let me go without making a fuss. Trust me on that.
God damn it! Why did it have to be Mazora? Why did it have to be Zariel? We're supposed to risk our necks to get one of her assets? What if it's a runaway like me? Or something far worse? Look, Will's happiness is my happiness. I'd sooner see myself a Lemur than him. But it's a bad idea to play games with the devil. You never win. Not ever.
You know, I've been catching my...
What's on your mind?
You recognize the feathered creature. It's the owlbear cub you rescued. The cub tilts his head. He does not trust you. Yet. The cub's eyes lock onto the food in your hand. He takes a hesitant step toward you, his beak chittering hungrily.
Oh my gods! Look at his little beak! Oh, come here, you doll!
Alarmed by your companion's approach, the cub turns heel and runs.
Damn it! You scared it off. Poor little beaky fella. Hope he finds his way back.
already. Bother.
Can't slow down. Out of sight, out of mind.
May the dice roll in my favor. Pawn to cleric 4.
Smell blood.
Mistra Rill.
What's the plan?
Put him on.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Let's finish this.
Ready for another round?
I'm ready.
Let's go with fire, baby.
Need to act fast.
I got this.
Should mind my step.
What am I to do?
Ah, excellent choice. Robes will get dirty.
Talk to me.
He's assured.
My turn. Now this is my happy place.
What should I do?
What fools these mortals be.
This is gonna feel good.
My faith will protect me.
Let me recite their demise.
What's this?
Can't afford to let up.
Wonder if the gods are watching me.
Can't give up.
Got to move.
I speak, they burn. Certainly.
All right, Karlak. It's go time. Knees high.
Ready.
Swords meet sorcery.
Gods, it's hot in here.
These boots have seen everything.
wonder what the next move is. On I go. Just check for anything useful. Let's see. Strange. This torch really doesn't want to be snuffed out. Must be some sort of magic. Which doesn't narrow things down by much, I'll admit.
Must have been a wizard at work. I know a continual flame spell when I see one.
To your church every day, my queen. Your followers are legion. Your faithful stand ready, Majesty. Soon we march. Soon the world will bow to you.
Here, we're boss. Something moved up there. Want me to drag it out?
Stay in the light! They do not go into the dark!
Didn't figure something as big and ugly as you for a coward.
No! They will not go into the dark! Enough! Stop! They will not become shadows! They will not feed the curse! Forgive me, my queen, but I had to. Before the dark got any stronger. We will carry your light, Majesty. We are happy to serve. Follow close, little ones. Do not leave the lights.
What's theirs shall be mine.
Waiting with bated breath. Best get in and out.
What's on your mind?
Breathe deep and move. Always room for more.
Don't be shy. Turn down the fire.
I'm ready.
May it please, Mistra.
Wonder if the gods are watching me. Can't risk being in open view. Oh, my hand slipped.
Your desire?
There is work to do.
Such a long way down.
Free for the day. Need to find a way forward.
Oh my word. Poor fucker.
Oh, God, you will die. For the Absolute! The Absolute wills it so.
Strike hard, strike fast.
Let's light them up.
Got to focus.
Take two.
Some oil over here.
Death's close at hand.
those rooms.
Gone with the weave. Mucked in for
Let's end this. Time for a boost.
Another step forward.
Up!
Very well. I'll feel that one later.
Oh, help! Help! Oh, help! Help!
Lantern gives off a chilly glow, protecting all in its vicinity from the surrounding shadows. You notice a tiny pixie trapped within. These fey creatures are infamous for their trickery, sometimes playful, sometimes malicious.
Oh, please! Oh, golly me, oh my! You must release me or I'll die. This lantern only lights the way when I am hurting night and day. My pixie dust is bright as day. My injuries can light the way.
Cruelty and cleverness are all too common bedfellows. Let's side with cleverness alone, shall we? See what we can do to save this verse-loving pixie.
My name is Dolly Thrice. Now won't you free me from this vice? It would be my pleasure, truly. Once I'm freed, I'll help you duly. I dare not name it, newfound friend. The faintest touch could spell my end.
Finally! Been trapped in that coffin with no one but a Madge Rider and my own farts for company.
Did me a good turn there, didn't you? What do I owe you? Honey, I'll shake your world, that's for sure. Here, give this bell a shake. Speak the magic words and you'll get what you've earned. Protection from the shadow curse. What more could a dingus want? You're welcome.
Curious little thing.
Little wings, big mean mouth.
traps, please. Something good here, I hope. Might be useful.
Whatever comes, I'm ready. I'll take this way.
Looks like a toll house.
Impressive. I don't think even Baldur's Gates is so large.
Worth a try.
Nothing.
Lovely little pick-me-up.
That might be worth a look.
I'd better take a peek.
All right, what now? Couple turns should do it. Need to find a way forward.
My faith will guide me.
I'll go this way.
Let's march!
Pickets, ballistas, siege engines. A little old-fashioned, too. 100 years? More?
Damn, it's good to be alive. Yeah!
to dally. No time to waste.
The Dryder's caravan came from here, I'll wager.
They won't be back here anytime soon, thanks to us. Still alive, so that's progress.
I'm ready. Whatever it takes. Let's try this way. Can't afford to stay idle.
With haste.
Wits and blades, always sharp.
No time for dally.
Still breathing, despite everything. Can't keep me out. Moving ahead.
Let's get on with it. Onward then.
This beast didn't go down without a fight.
In this Baldur's Gate 3 guide, we'll take a look at 10 early game spells that you should absolutely have in your repertoire regardless of your party makeup, that you are absolutely not using enough. There are so many great early game spells in BG3, but we've narrowed it down to the very best of the best in this guide. There are many factors that go into deciding whether to use a spell in BG3, such as how reliably can you use it? Is it better or worse than just using a damaging spell? How is it best utilized, and what are you giving up in order to use it? Many players don't know how to utilize many spells in BG3, particularly non-damage dealing spells, because they think they're not as useful as outright damage. With limited spell slots early on in the game, spellcasters typically want to feel useful and leave their mark in combat, and setting up their party members for success isn't always as much fun as lobbing a huge fireball into a pack of enemies. But there is more to playing a spellcaster in BG3, and I want to show you some things that you can do using some low-level spells that you probably had no idea you could. The first spell we're going to take a look at is Sleep. Sleep is a very strong early game spell because it can put multiple targets to sleep, effectively removing them from combat. The amount of targets you can put to sleep is based on the current HP of the targets, not their max HP, so it can be used on enemies that have already taken damage more effectively. And you might be thinking, what's so great about that? Very few enemies have lower than 24 HP, and wouldn't I just be better off finishing them off if they were? Well, there are some things to consider. First of all, Sleep can target multiple enemies, which means you can prevent damage your party would take by removing the turns of 2 or more enemies, where killing an enemy might only prevent one enemy from taking a turn. Preventing damage is the name of the game in BG3, and you often do that by killing enemies before they can act, but Sleep is the next best thing to that. Secondly, you can upcast Sleep with higher level spell slots to increase the amount of HP an enemy or enemies can have, allowing you to use it further into the game than just the very beginning. Thirdly, attacking an enemy that is asleep grants advantage on the attack and is a guaranteed critical hit if the attacking character is within 2 meters. This means that your party will almost assuredly finish off these enemies on their next turn. And lastly, there is no saving throw made by the target. That means you can either put an enemy to sleep or you can't. You cannot fail as long as you are under the HP threshold. This is huge because there is no gamble, it just works. Up next, let's take a look at Longstrider. This spell increases the movement speed of a character by 3 meters until their next long rest. This is essentially a 33% increase to movement speed on characters that have 9 meters of movement speed, and an even higher increase on characters that have 7.5. This lasts until long rest and no concentration is required, so you're free to cast another concentration spell after using it. And you might be thinking, well, that's great, but is it really worth using a spell slot to gain that? Well, the answer to this is, you don't have to. Longstrider is a ritual spell, which means if you cast it outside of combat, it consumes no spell slot. This allows you to buff your entire party's movement speed until you long rest without using a single spell slot. Sound better now? Up next, let's take a look at the Shield spell. Shield allows you to consume a spell slot when an enemy is going to hit you in combat to increase your armor class by 5 to hopefully prevent them from hitting you, and become immune to magic missile. Seems like a waste of a spell slot, right? Wrong. Shield's armor class bonus and magic missile immunity last until the next turn, which means you'll have this armor class bonus on every other attack made against you for the entire round. This can keep your casters alive and can also be used effectively on something like a bard or paladin if they multi-classed, further boosting their armor class in melee combat. What's better than high armor class? More armor class. Up next is Minor Illusion. Minor Illusion is a cantrip, which is essentially a level 0 spell that doesn't cost a spell slot to use. This is an extremely strong cantrip, as it allows you to throw out an illusion over a great distance that characters will flock to if used outside of combat. This is useful for a lot of reasons, like maybe you want to sneak by a bunch of characters in a place you shouldn't be, but they are blocking your way and you don't want to fight them all. Or maybe they're friendlies, but you want to loot the chest behind them and you don't want to kill them to do it. But another really great use of this spell is before combat, to group up enemies in one place where an AoE type spell can make quick work of them. Use this when enemies are too spread out to attack effectively, and your life will be much easier. Next is Color Spray. Color Spray is a spell that blinds enemies up to a certain amount of HP, meaning you can only use this on enemies whose total HP is 33 or lower, similar to the way Sleep works. However, Color Spray is cast in a conal AoE in front of you, with much shorter range, which can be more difficult to use on pure casters. Blinded enemies, though, have disadvantage on their attack rolls, and their ranged weapon and spell attacks are reduced to 3 meters. In addition, all attacks made against them have advantage, and just like Sleep, this spell has no saving throw. You can either use it on the target or targets, or you can't, making it less of a gamble to use. It can be particularly effective early game against hard-to-kill enemies that are down to a little in HP, helping your party to finish them off faster. Up next is Healing Word. Healing Word is another extremely strong spell early game and one that you will likely use throughout your entire journey. It does very mild healing for a spell slot, and new players might think Cure Wounds is a better choice, particularly when they're lower level and spell slots are limited. However, that's just not the case. Healing Word can be cast over long distances and only consumes a bonus action, while Cure Wounds is cast in melee range and uses an action. By casting Healing Word as a bonus action, you can cast another spell the same turn or attack with a weapon, which you can't do if you use Cure Wounds. However, the primary function of Healing Word is actually picking up party members if they've been down, since any healing will do this, including tossing a potion if you're in a pinch. This allows you to save yourself from having to walk over to the party member and use the help action, consuming your action and movement while picking up the party member with 1 HP. You'll use this all game long for this reason alone. Next is Bless. Bless is an extremely effective spell that increases not only the attack rolls, but also the saving throws of each character affected by it by 1d4 or 1 to 4. This is an important point because many new players forget that it also boosts saving throws. This is a great way to help protect your party while also improving. In this Baldur's Gate 3 Combat Mechanics Guide, How to Succeed in Combat, we'll be covering all the details that go into combat. Things like initiative, advantage and disadvantage, spell slots, attacks, armor, and more. If you've been having a tough time in combat, then this video is for you. Baldur's Gate 3's combat can be quite complex to new players and those who are unfamiliar with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, which is what the game is modeled after. You might be wondering why your hit chance is so low or why your spells never seem to deal damage. In this guide, we'll show you what to do, and we'll give you some tips of things you probably shouldn't do. Let's start with initiative, as this is the first thing that happens every combat. Once combat has been triggered, the first thing that happens is each character makes what is called an initiative roll, which determines the turn order of each character. Once this has been completed and the order established, this order will not change for the rest of combat, excepting when a character is incapacitated, downed, or killed. The dexterity modifier of each character is added to their initiative roll, so generally speaking, characters that have higher dexterity will go first, like rogues and rangers, but this is not always the case since there is still a roll made, and they may roll poorly, while other characters roll highly. Going first in combat is very important, just like in DOS 2, because you can often eliminate or incapacitate an enemy or two before they attack you, preventing a lot of damage to your party. One great way to do this is by surprising enemies, because surprised enemies won't gain an action on their turn. You can surprise enemies quite often by hiding and attacking them before they see you. You can hide your entire party outside of combat at any time by pressing Shift-C or clicking the icon on the left-hand side of the screen below the character portraits. Once combat has begun, each character gains 1 action, 1 bonus action, and a certain amount of movement per turn in BG3, except for, of course, if they were surprised. This includes players and enemy characters. If you've played Pillars of Eternity 2's turn-based mode, then you'll notice similarities almost immediately. Each character can move up to a certain amount based off their movement speed, and they can move at any time on their turn, regardless of what actions or bonus actions they've already used. Actions are usually attacks, weapon actions found on weapons, or spells, but can also include throwing an object or even throwing an enemy, hiding, dashing, which extends your movement, or disengaging from an enemy, which prevents attacks of opportunity, or some other class-specific feature. Bonus actions are usually specific weapon actions that deal less damage but have some other effect, like shoving or dipping your weapon in a substance. However, they can also be spells and class features too. Good players will find a way to make use of both their action and bonus action each turn in order to maximize the impact their character has. There are ways to gain more actions and bonus actions, such as the fighter's action surge, the thief's fast hands, or the haste spell. Pay attention when given a choice to select spells or class features and note whether or not something is an action or bonus action. This can help you plan better what to do in a given turn. Alright, so you figured out actions, bonus actions, and movement, but you keep missing your attacks in combat. In this section, we'll discuss why you might be missing a lot and how you can improve your chances of landing attacks in combat. But first, the basics. When making an attack, you will roll a 20-sided die called a d20, and it will be rolled against the armor class, or making an attack, you will roll a 20-sided die called a d20, and it will be rolled against the armor class, or AC for short, of the enemy. Enemies won't have lower than 10 armor class, which means that you will at least need to roll a 10 in order to hit even the weakest enemies in the game. This means by default, factoring in no bonuses or modifiers, you would have roughly a 55% chance to hit an enemy with 10 armor class, since rolling a 10 or higher will all be hits. This is not a very high chance in general, but there are ways to improve this. Melee weapons use your strength modifier when making attack rolls, and ranged weapons use dexterity. These are added to the d20 that is rolled when an attack is made, and help to improve your chances of landing your attacks. For instance, if you have 16 strength and make a melee attack, or 16 dexterity when making a ranged attack, you'll now add +3 to your roll, so now you only need to roll a 7 or higher, giving you a 70% chance to hit an enemy with 10 armor class. You can see this is already much higher. Note that 17 strength or 17 dexterity gives you the same modifier as 16 strength and 16 dexterity, which is +3, because you only do the same modifier already much higher. Note that 17 strength or 17 dexterity gives you the same modifier as 16 strength and 16 dexterity, which is +3, because you only improve your modifiers at every even number. Pay attention to your ability scores during character creation when selecting feats and choosing equipment, and aim for even numbers on your strength or dexterity, whichever you use for attacking. Finesse weapons are melee weapons that use either your strength or dexterity modifier, so if you wish to melee and range effectively on a martial character, you will want high dexterity. If you're a strength character, you should try to avoid making ranged attacks if you can melee instead. And if you're a dexterity character, you should avoid melee attacks with anything other than finesse weapons. And if you're a strength character, you should try to avoid making ranged attacks if you can melee instead. And if you're a dexterity character, you should avoid melee attacks with anything other than finesse weapons. The one exception is monks, who can use dexterity regardless of the weapon they're using as long as it's not two-handed. There are more things that help to improve your attack rolls, though, and the next one is proficiency. Each character in the game will have proficiency with different weapons and armor based off race and class choices, and using a weapon you have proficiency with will grant you +2 to your attack rolls on Balanced and Tactician, and +4 on Explorer. As your character gains levels, this will increase to +3 at level 5 or +5 on Explorer, and +4 at level 9 or +6 on Explorer. Note this is the same for all characters in the game regardless of race, class, or multiclassing. This means at the beginning of the game, if you make a melee attack roll with 16 strength or a ranged attack roll with 16 dexterity and you're proficient with the weapon you are using, you'll add +5 to your attack roll, making it so you only need to roll a 5 or higher to land your attacks. This is an 80% chance to hit against an enemy with 10 armor class, and you can see how this just keeps improving. As your character gains levels and improves their ability modifiers, their chance to hit will naturally improve, but so will enemy armor class, so you'll need to find more ways to improve your chances of success. So let's get into how you do that. Besides having a good ability modifier with the type of weapon you're using, melee or ranged, and making sure you have proficiency in the weapon type that you're using, there are other things you should and shouldn't do in combat to improve your chances of hitting an enemy. Make sure you're not wearing armor you're not proficient with, because this penalizes your attack rolls severely by giving you disadvantage on your attack rolls. Disadvantage means that you roll your d20 twice and you take the lower of the two values. Rolling 2 dice makes you much more likely to roll a low number with 1 die, and then you will miss when you're forced to use it. Make sure to upgrade your equipment. As you gain more equipment in the game, you will find +1 and +2 versions of weapons, which will add +1 or +2 to not only your damage rolls, but also your attack rolls. This lowers the number you need to reach when attacking an enemy in melee or at range with said weapon in order to trigger a hit. Bless is also a fantastic way to boost your hit chance early on in the game. This spell improves the attack roll of each character affected by +1 to +4 on each attack as long as the spellcaster of this spell maintains concentration on it. It's best used at the beginning of combat to affect as many turns as possible. If you're a ranged character, make sure you're not standing next to an enemy when making a ranged attack, as this will give you disadvantage on your attack roll even if you target another enemy than the one that is standing near you. Either move away first, risking an attack of opportunity, or disengage and reposition your ranged character instead, if possible. Note that disengage will consume your action, so you won't be able to attack on the same turn, but the enemy can't make an attack of opportunity against you if you use this. Rogues gain Cunning Action Disengage at level 2, allowing them to disengage as a bonus action so they can safely move away from melee units and make a ranged attack in the same turn, or they can make a melee attack and then disengage and safely move away. Another thing that ranged characters should try to do every chance they get is to try to get above the target they're attacking. Being at a slightly higher elevation than your target will provide you with +2 to your attack roll, which will change that 80% into a 90% if the target has 10 armor class. Note that attacking targets that are higher than you will apply a -2 penalty instead, so try to avoid this if you can. Also remember to move up if you're out of the range of your weapon, because ranged attacks made outside the range of a weapon will also have disadvantage, causing you to be more likely to miss. Another great way to improve the chances of your attack rolls on a ranged character is by being hidden when you attack. Characters that attack enemies that cannot see them gain advantage on their attacks, even melee characters, allowing them to roll 2 dice, taking the higher of the 2 values for their roll. And that's on top of all the other bonuses like ability modifier, proficiency, and whether or not you're above the target. All of these things get factored in. Hiding is an action, which means you cannot do this in combat and attack on the same turn, but you can begin combat hidden easily enough, giving you advantage on your first attack. It's much harder for melee units to do this, and it's generally easier to pull off from range. Pay attention to the armor your ranged characters are wearing though, because some gives you a disadvantage on stealth checks, and that can hamper this tactic tremendously. Rogues also gain cutting action hide at level 2, allowing them to hide as a bonus action so they can actually hide in combat easily, and then attack with advantage every turn if handled properly. This is the easiest way to gain sneak attack with them and boost the likelihood they'll connect with their attacks at the same time. Melee characters operate very differently, and they want to get as close to the enemy as possible when they can so they can get their attacks off. Movement and positioning are a huge part of playing a melee character, and knowing where to be and when to be there is not always easily understood. Enemies follow the same rules as the player for the most part, so when positioned next to a ranged enemy, for example, these enemies have disadvantage on their attack rolls, making your party less likely to be hit. You will also have the option to do an attack of opportunity if they try to move away unless they disengage, but then they won't be able to attack you if they do this, which is great. Moving up to melee enemies also prevents them from getting to your ranged characters because of the attack of opportunity mechanic, so sometimes your melee characters will also move to intercept enemies. Both are valid strategies that you'll need to employ depending on what is happening on the battlefield. The best way to increase your hit chance against enemies with melee characters, besides the things I've already mentioned above, is by using weapon actions or class features against them. For instance, some weapons allow you to set the off-balance status effect by using their weapon action, and this makes it so subsequent attacks from anyone against the target have advantage. Attacking prone enemies grants advantage to your melee attacks, and some weapon action spells and class features trigger this effect. Dazing enemies removes the armor class bonus enemies gain from
Everybody loves the bard, right? Well, in this video today, I'm going to go through how to build your bard out. If you're maybe doing your first character, you're trying to build out one of the other characters as a bard, or maybe you want to do one of the generic hirelings from Withers. We're going to go through how the bard looks at the beginning of the game, going through stuff like race selection, background, origin, stuff like that. Progress through a small conversation on what our 3 subclass options are, talk about the future of the bard after level 1, then close the video out talking about some multi-class options. You can quickly navigate to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chapters in both the timeline and the description. And also don't forget to check me out on Twitch. You can find that linked in the description as well as the pinned comment, where I will be streaming Baldur's Gate 3 and a number of other games. But let's get started here on how to build out your bard in Baldur's Gate 3. Things, you know, what kind of bard you want to have in mind, but I'm just going to give you some recommendations here. Friends is really good. So you gain advantage on charisma checks against a non-hostile creature. You'd use this in the middle of conversation to help give you an advantage on that roll. So if someone also has guidance, they can cast that, which gives you a 1d4 bonus. You could use your bardic inspiration. You could use friends. All these things just add all these layers to any of your charisma checks to help you out pushing through any kind of pivotal conversation in the game. But then you can also add vicious mockery in here, which is nice just to kind of have disadvantage on its next, the creature would have a disadvantage on its next attack roll, and it is a wisdom save. You can get minor illusion here, stuff like that is really nice. Moving into spells, you have a good amount of really good ones at the beginning here. Tasha's Hideous Laughter is a really good ability. Leave a creature prone with laughter. Now prone can't move or take actions, bonus actions, or reactions, and has disadvantage on strength and dexterity saving throws. Pretty much anything when it comes to range or melee attacks. Attacks against a prone creature have advantage if they're made within 10 feet of the creature, and a prone creature must spend half its movement speed to stand back up. So it's just a great way to lock something down. That's something that the bard can do in spades, because you can get sleep, which is really good in the beginning portions of the game. You basically just put someone to sleep and you don't have to deal with it at all. Lasts for 2 turns. Charm Person is always really good. Level 5 and level 6 that I want to jump into here. And I feel like also level 5 is kind of a pivotal point for almost every character in the game, where they really start to feel a good power spike and feel a little bit stronger and a little bit better. For one, they get Fond of Inspiration, so now you regain all of your bardic inspiration after a long or a short rest, whereas previously it was just a long rest. And then improved bardic inspiration. The bonus gain from bardic inspiration increases to 1d8 from 1d6 that it was before. I'm just choosing a random spell here to accept. Then at level 6, we get Counter Charm, and I chose the Lore Bard here just to show you what Magical Secrets looks like. So, counter charm. You and your allies within 30 feet have advantage on saving throws against being charmed or frightened for 3 turns. So it's a nice way to kind of dodge those two things that you will actually deal with in spades in this game. I'm just going to choose a random spell, but this is Magical Secrets. So now I can choose, since I'm a lower bard at level 6, any one of these, any 2 of these abilities that are level 3 or lower from other classes. And honestly, stuff like Call Lightning is really good. Hunger of Hadar is amazing. Spirit Guardians is just so good as well, depending on the kind of bard, especially that you want to be. You've got Haste in this location. There's a lot of Misty Step is great, especially because it's a bonus action. You have so many good abilities here that you can take advantage of. Spike Growth in conjunction with Hunger of Hadar is absolutely disgusting, but they're both concentration spells, so you cannot stack them. Same thing with Spirit Guardians and Hunger of Hadar. I just want to make that known, so in case you got both and say, well, I can't use both. Well, it's intended. But really, really, really love this capability. But after that, we're pretty much just looking at the standard linear progression of any kind of caster, where we just get access to more spells and more spell levels as we level up. Level 8 is going to grant us access to another feat, of course, all the kind of fun things that we do as we push through the game. I'm just going to choose stuff at random here. But this is going to be true all the way up to level 10, where we're going to get improved Bardic Inspiration one more time. That makes our Bardic Inspiration now do 1d10. We'll get additional expertise, so now we have even further proficiency bonuses, making us even more of a skill monkey. And we get our final round of Magical Secrets, or our first if we're not a lore bard. But that's pretty much your standard progression as a bard. You just get better and better at casting more and more of your bard spells. You get our conversation about multi-classing the bard. It's worth noting that I've already covered some of this in my warlock video linked in the upper right hand corner. And I said, hey, you either start as 10 levels of bard and 2 levels of warlock to do a lore bard and warlock, or you can do like 8 levels of bard and 4 levels of warlock, or you do 5 levels of warlock first and then the rest 7 levels of bard as a sword bard. That's what I've personally done for my will. There's a lot of different ways you can do a bard lock, and it's a very powerful class because you're pulling in charisma. Another cool thing you can do is simply 2 levels. Well, I'd probably 2 levels of sorcerer. You start as sorcerer, 2 levels, and then pivot into bard. And those 2 levels will give you access to meta magic. So you can do things like casting your bonus action, give you increased range on all of your spells. Lots of fun things. Rogue can give you action to the cunning actions at level 2. You'd put 2 levels into rogue. Sure, you get sneak attacks, but this scales with your rogue level, so it's not as awesome. The big thing here is that you're going to get access, of course, to expertise out the gate. You're going to have even more skills, of course, and those cunning actions, which gives you better bonus action economy, allowing you to move around the map better while using it as a bonus action versus an action. So, for example, you can dash as a bonus action to let you just
It's no secret that words have power. A simple greeting can be the ray of sunshine that breaks through the clouds and brightens a stranger's day, while a condescending reply can be a dagger plunged straight into a lover's heart. The bards of Faerun know these lessons very well and have mastered the use of words and melodies as a means to focus their magics into the world around them. So if you are the type of player who gets joy out of assisting those that are closest to you, as well as literally adding insult to injury for your foes, then the Bard class is right for you. Welcome back, travelers. I'm glad to see you made it. I'm Kolo, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Bard class in Baldur's Gate 3. We'll take a look at all the skills and abilities you'll get as you level up your Bard, and then we're going to come back at the end of the video and we'll look through each of the individual subclasses on their own. That way you know which route you want to take your Bard as you're leveling up. Also, a special shout out to the curators of the Baldur's Gate 3 wiki at bg3.wiki. These guys do a really good job compiling and organizing this data, and a lot of the information that I've used in this this video has come from this website. So make sure you check them out, show them some love. They do a really good job over there. Also, stick around to the end of the video where I'll be talking about a few notable bards from popular media, and we're also going to cover one character who might secretly be a bard in disguise, but we'll have to figure that out together. Now, I'm going to shut up, and we can get started. In the worlds of the Forgotten Realms where Baldur's Gate 3 takes place, bards are not merely musicians or performers. They are fully fledged spellcasters who are capable of tapping into the power of the words of creation, which are said to be the words of the gods that were used to speak the world into existence in the first place. So that sounds pretty busted, and in the game what that translates to is your bard is basically going to be able to use either their voice or instruments to tap into that magical music or word power and cast spells with them. Bards get access to damaging spells, buffs, debuffs, crowd control, pretty much a little bit of everything, which is a common theme among bards. In bed. So the life of a wandering rock star appeals to you, and you want to make a bard. Well, that sounds great. Let's take a look at what you're going to get when you choose this class. When you first choose the bard class, you will immediately be granted a few things. First up, you're going to receive proficiency with light armor, simple weapons, hand crossbows, rapiers, long swords, and short swords. You will also get to pick your bard's starting instrument. This is not a set in stone thing. Any character that has the performance skill and is able to play instruments can play every instrument. So if you find a different instrument later on, you want to try it out, you can swap it out, no problem. You can do all that stuff without having an instrument equipped at all, and your character will actually whistle or sing for casting spells and whistling songs. It's pretty awesome that Larian actually took the time to script this whistling and get the voice actors to record the whistling scenes so you can have access to this in the game. Whistling actually sounds pretty good when you put it with the other instruments as well, in case you end up with multiple performers in your group. If you want to have one of them be a whistling musician, that's a perfectly viable option. I actually made a whole video about the performability, so feel free to check it out if you want to learn more about that. You will also be granted 2 level 1 spell slots, as well as your choice of 2 bard cantrips and 4 level 1 spells from the bard's spell list. When bards learn spells, they are always prepared, which means that you won't be preparing and unpreparing spells like a wizard has to do. You're just, every spell that your character learns as you level up, they have access to during the day. But because of this fact, bards learn less spells than the other classes do. You're going to have plenty of tools available for multiple situations on this character, though, I assure you. I've never found myself on my bard's turn without at least some kind of plan or something that I can do that's going to benefit the group in some way, whether that's throwing an off heal to help somebody, whether it's putting a offhanded crossbow shot into somebody from across the room to try to, finish off that one enemy, whatever it is. The bard always seems to have something they can contribute to each turn of combat, which is great. On top of all these spells and cantrips, you will also be granted the bard's class-defining ability. Bardic Inspiration is an ability you'll have access to 3 times per long rest at this level, and as you level up, you'll get more and more charges of this per day. So what does it do? Well, it's basically your bard giving another character some kind of magical pep talk, and what it actually results in is them adding a bonus to that character's next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. At this level, the bonus they're going to add is 1d6, which is an absolutely massive bonus to be adding to dice rolls, especially at such a low level when you have, barely any bonuses from anything. All of a sudden, you're getting a 1 to 6 added to important rolls. Obviously, you can't do it on every roll, but for the important ones. If you need to pass a check, have the old bard strum off some guitar riffs real quick and try to pass that check. I need you to understand that this ability is so strong that it's actually absurd. This is the reason that everybody loves having bards in their parties, because not only, as you're going to see, are bards just good at everything, but they make everybody else a little bit better at everything too. You will also be allowed to choose 3 skills for which your bard is going to have proficiency, and you will have main stat points to allocate as well, just like always. The 3 main stats the bard typically wants to buff as they're leveling up are Charisma, Dexterity, and Constitution. Charisma is your spellcasting stat, which means that as you raise this, your spells are going to do more damage. It's going to make you a better caster, basically. And also it helps you in persuasion rolls, deception checks, intimidation checks, all that stuff. Dexterity will help your bard with their armor class and their initiative rolls to potentially go earlier in combat, as well as influencing the damage that they do with certain weapons. And finally, Constitution will determine how many hit points your character has, as well as how good they are at resisting having their concentration broken when they're concentrating on spells. So if you're planning on having your bard be more of a healer or a buff character to buff some of your allies, putting some points in Constitution is definitely going to be strong because it'll help them concentrate on those spells to keep the buffs rolling on your party members. Now, let's go over what every bard's going to get as you're leveling up, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the subclasses like I said. Second level, your bard is going to gain 1 more level 1 spell slot, your choice of 1 more spell from the bard's spell list, and as with every level up that you're going to get, you will also have the option to swap a spell that you know with a spell that you don't know if you want. This is entirely optional. If you like all the spells you have, you don't have to swap one, but know that every time you level up your bard, this is the only time you can swap out what spells your character knows unless you go talk to withers. So if you end